Welcome back. Well, to shed more light on this, we had the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening, Your Excellency. Hello. Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening to you.
Well, Your Excellency Ambassador Meleegy, now how do you follow this situation now as the evacuations taking place from Lebanon with the exchange of fire between Hezbollah and Israel, and 2 hours ago Iran have fired ballistic missiles towards Israel, and also there has been shooting in center of Tel Aviv, killing 6 people and injuring others. How are you following the situation now?
Well, I think this is a regular and expected result of what Egypt has been warning from the beginning of this war, is not to accept the Israeli tendency to escalate the scope of this war. Unfortunately, Israel continues to do so, and this is the result that we're expecting from the beginning. President Sisi himself have warned several times, and the last time it was during the speech addressed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Badr Abduladi, at the United Nations, at the General Assembly, when he warned that enlarging the scope of the war is in no one's benefit. Unfortunately, Israel continues to escalate the scope of the war, leading the whole region to a jeopardy and unexpected, unknown future. Now that Iran is responding after so many months of patience at many Israel actions towards it, starting from killing one of its high operatives, and then Haniya, and then recently Hassan Nasrallah. So actually this was unexpected retaliation from Iran, and this is putting the whole region in a big danger, not just the countries concerned. Yes. Unfortunately, the Lebanese are so far in a certain way defenseless, but this is not going to remain like that.
Yes. Yes. Now, also Iran, after the launching of ballistic missiles today, hours ago, said that if Israel retaliated, Tehran's response would be more crushing and ruinous. So how did you see this? At the same time, we hear that the U.S. officials are saying that Israel, even before Tehran started its ballistic missiles today, that Israel has the right to defend itself.
Well, Israel always claimed its right to defend itself. I mean, this is a rhetoric that has been going on from the beginning of this war. And it's lost its meaning, because actually the reason behind all what is going on in the region, not just in Palestine or in Lebanon, is the Israeli occupation. Israel is occupying Arab land in Palestine and in Syria and in Lebanon and elsewhere. And if we are going to let Israel with this policy of impunity, this is the result that's going to happen. The countries will not accept this, even with the full support of the United States, even with the full pressure, according to American sources, on Israel. Nothing has changed from the beginning of this war, and we are listening to the United States claiming that it's putting and exerting pressure on Israel to stop its attack. And Israel is not listening to that, to the point that we heard that there are total different points of view between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu. But this did not deter Netanyahu to continue the war on all scales. As we all heard, Mr. Netanyahu gave the order to kill Hassan Nasrallah and flew to New York to give his speech about peace in the Middle East. So, I mean, we are listening to a very actually poor speech from the Israeli officials about the peace in the region and about how they can achieve it, and they're using the worst tool possible to do so. Unfortunately, with the American support that is unconditional, with the elections that is coming very soon, in less than a couple of months, the Americans are totally incapable, and this is what they have shown us until today. They are totally incapable of deterring Israel from continuing with its war crime.
Yes.
And this is the result that we are seeing today.
Also, Your Excellency, Ambassador Meleegy, how did you follow yesterday night the limited ground incursion by Israel, in which Hezbollah said was a limited ground incursion, and said that there were not any clashes taking place between Hezbollah and the Israeli soldiers on the ground?
I think that Hezbollah is trying just to save face. We have to admit that he received a very strong blow by the assassination of its leader on one side, the pager attacks on another side, and killing many of his senior officials. Hezbollah is not Hezbollah that used to be like 2 weeks ago. So we have to understand that Hezbollah is just trying to save face, to say that he is still an active player on the scene, although I doubt very much that his attacks are capable of harming Israel. So far, we haven't really heard of serious attacks on Israel, although Israel is blowing disproportionately the attacks of Hezbollah to say that it has to retaliate, and it's trying to get a better excuse to continue. So both parties are interested in showing this attack in larger scale than what they really are, to simply show Israel on one side that it has the right to retaliate because of the major damage caused by Hezbollah, which is a lie, and Hezbollah has an interest also to show that it is capable of inflicting attacks on Israel, which he really cannot do. So, I mean, we don't have really to trust the news coming from both sides at this moment until we see something really concrete that we can count on.
Yes, also, Your Excellency, Ambassador Meleegy, yesterday also by night, Israel have made airstrikes on Damascus, targeting in Damascus a car, thinking it is inside it there's a Hezbollah commander, and it resulted in the death of a media woman. So how did you follow this also?
Well, first of all, I mean, from the beginning of this war, Israel had one target, is to escalate the war with many countries as much as it could, because this is going to ensure the involvement of the United States at one step or the other, and this is what it wants mainly to achieve. Because then, in this case, it's not going to be just Israel against these countries, but the United States as well. The United States on its side doesn't want to get implicated. It's a very delicate time internally, and it cannot continue defending the atrocities committed by Israel.
Yes.
But, I mean, from the beginning, we have said on this platform several times that Israel is occupying many lands, and it will keep doing so as long as it is enjoying the Western support from the United States and other Western allies. Unfortunately, this is what enables Israel to continue until this moment to commit what it's committing, although all the objections from the international community that is totally incapable of achieving anything against Israel because of the support that it gets from the United States and the veto right when it comes to the Security Council.
So, Your Excellency, Ambassador Meleegy, despite the strikes on Lebanon, Israel is persistent on shooting or striking Gaza Strip on daily basis, going on with its military operations there and killing. And today in Khan Yunis, 21 people were killed, and there are shooting and bombardment there in Khan Yunis. So, also, how did you see this?
Well, again, we have to say that Israel is capable of doing whatever it wants to do, simply because it can do it. After all, let's not forget one thing. I mean, this victory claimed by Israel as if it has really achieved a military victory on Hezbollah, for instance. I mean, Hezbollah doesn't really have tanks or air force, and Israel has a complete supremacy on the skies of Lebanon. So, I mean, what could be done in such a situation? I mean, This is not even a conventional war. This is one-sided war, and Israel will continue to do so because it has the full support of the United States. And the support should not be a vocal support, but always trying to find a diplomatic coverage, not to take any concrete measures against Israel for what it's committing. This is the kind of support that Israel needs. It doesn't need more than that to continue with its war crimes against the Arab people, whether we are talking about Lebanon or Syria or even now in of course, the Palestinian from the beginning, as we mentioned, and elsewhere. It can reach wherever it wants because the United States is enabling it to do so.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. Your Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for joining us over the phone, ladies and gentlemen. A short break and I'm going to be back with you.